I'm Haley from Gallifrey Public Radio, a Doctor Who fandom podcast and part of the Gonna Geek Network, just like the show you're checking out now. Shows on the network are individually owned, and opinions expressed may not reflect others. Find other interesting geeky shows at GonnaGeekNetwork.com.
Stand by for a brand new episode of All Things Good and Nerdy.
Good morning, everyone, and welcome to the latest episode of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. You might be asking, why did Chris say the latest episode? Because he forgot the show number until he pulled up the show notes. This is episode 363 of the podcast, recorded live on Sunday, June 23rd, 2019. And you guys might be noticing things look a little different. We'll get into that here in a minute. But first, let's introduce this motley crew we've got today. I, of course, am Chris, just kind of guiding things as we go. But joining me, as per the usual, one Anthony Bachman.
Good morning, fuckers.
Well, that was certainly an interesting way to put it. Good morning, fuckers. And then, of course, we do have joining us today the one and only Willie D. Nelson. But Willie, is something wrong? You look like you're a little sad. Is everything all right?
Well, you know when you ever have one of those dreams where it feels like you live like a whole lifetime in it?
Yeah.
Yep. I had one that lasted like 16 months.
Yeah. Well, I mean, if I had one just last night and it feels like it's, it happened all in real time for just as long as Endgame is going to be in theaters.
I.e. forever.
Bump.
Hey, no one ever said we were here for the good jokes, just the jokes.
Well, I mean, you could have sold it a little bit better, motherfuckers. Jesus Christ.
I've heard it 3 times already. Jesus. Too much lead up. Should have saved it for the fucking show.
So, welcome everyone to this latest episode. We did touch on the fact last week that things might be a little different this week. So what do we mean by that? We've got this fancy tri-screen right now, guys. And I mean, normally you're used to Google Hangouts where one of us talks and it shifts the focus to them. So if this were Google Hangouts, it would be full screen Chris right now. I'd be talking to you guys. But now we've got it set up so that with the magic of Skype and a little thing called NDI, everyone has their own video feed. So I can be like, hey, Willie, what do you think about this new setup?
I think it's creepy because it's all me.
What do you think, Anthony? Do you think it's creepy too?
I think he's right. Whenever it's all him, it's creepy.
He's not wrong. So just a heads up to everyone who watches the live version or the recorded video version at a later date. As I get used to switching between scenes, this will get smoother. Be prepared because it's not going to be smooth right now because I'm not a smooth operator like Steven on the Gonna Geek show. He's like, I'm going to flip to this guy, to this visual effect, then back to this guy, and it all works. Me, I'm like, why is Anthony on screen when Willie's talking? Oh shit! And I'm like, I got to go hit the button. So we'll probably sit on the try a lot until I get used to things. But hey, it's an evolution of the show. We evolved the show to a point that we haven't been before. I mean, let's be honest, we've been using Hangouts on air since the show started, basically.
Have we?
And this isn't even our final evolution.
What is our final form?
I don't know.
I mean, I hope it's Golden Frieza.
I don't know what that means.
Dragon Ball Super, everybody. Come on. You call yourself nerds.
I don't watch Dragon Ball, man.
That's on you, buddy.
It is.
Oh, SP's talking trash in the chat room, Willie.
Oh, I can't see it because I can't get it so Chris's thing just stays up.
I'm sorry, Willie. I'm sorry.
Fuck you, Skype.
This is something you'll get used to hearing a lot, is us cursing at Skype and blaming it for things because, yeah, it's Skype and it probably hates us and we're going to have some issues and we'll fight with it from time to time, but eventually we'll get it right. It'll all come together. And just a heads up, I haven't got this set up to work with 4 cameras yet. That's coming. I didn't want to do extra work right now until we had a 4th join us at some point in time. So eventually we'll be on camera.
Oh my.
Yeah, I'm going to have things set up so this works.
We'll be quad cam. Oh, yeah.
Assuming my computer doesn't blow up. The important thing is I look in the bottom of OBS Studio right now and it shows the CPU load of 4.6%. So I think I'm doing okay right now. The graphics card hasn't blown up yet.
Yeah.
We can do this.
Compared to the computer meltdown last time, that's much better.
Yeah, when I was dropping frames right and left. I've dropped no frames so far, so this is all exciting stuff. It's exciting.
Nice.
I mean, for my end, it is melting.
Your computer's melting?
Well, I mean, not literally, but no. This quality it might just be the web-based one. The lag is real, everybody.
Well, Willie, to be fair, your webcam quality's always been a little, even on Hangouts.
Well, oh Jesus.
He's all choked up over it.
To be fair,
and Chris once again doesn't get the goddamn joke.
I get the joke. I've watched 2 episodes of it.
Have you even gotten to the to be fair part?
I don't think so, but you guys keep saying
No.
it so goddamn much that I've kind of gotten the joke. Made me all
true.
stuttery.
SP's got it right. Willie's never had quality video, audio, or content.
He's got
Willie isn't about quality.
Hey. At least I'm consistent, motherfucker.
he's got a quality
true.
sweater on at all times. That's high quality.
Low quality.
Oh, I was afraid that was gonna happen.
Low quality, high density.
I was afraid.
Goddamn right.
There's nothing to do to bypass that other than to say, hey, on to the next segment.
There you go.
Live from the ATGN studios on the internet. It's the news of the week.
So this is the news of the week. It's that part of the show where we run down some of the most interesting, at least in our minds, geeky and or nerdy news to have popped up in the last week. Now, I know, Willie, you have some strong thoughts. Some strong thoughts on some straight up fuckery that's going on, I think is how you put it up at one point.
Straight up.
That does sound like me, but I don't think
like
I
it.
said that. But it does sound like me, so let's just roll with it. Yeah, so well, what company is I'm thinking they got voted the most amount of years for being the worst company, of the year. I think they won the most of that. Can you remind me which company that was?
Comcast.
Really?
Probably.
I've heard EA, which is the one I've been mentioning.
They've both probably won it. I was mostly going for comedy and humor.
And to be fair, don't need to go
be
on all
fair.
again. No, I said we didn't need to go on all that.
There's a delay.
I was always a little curious, like, how come I keep hearing EA is always like winning this fucking worst company of the year? Like, are that many gamers voting? It's always been a little weird. But yeah, they've been fucking up a whole lot because let me read this headline for a moment. They're now not calling what their system is loot boxes. No. They're not loot boxes. They're surprise mechanics.
Yeah.
And they are quite ethical. That quite ethical is a quote.
Are they ethically first?
I mean, ask the ladies. I'm always ethically first.
Oh, and BT Dub show title now is They Are Quite Ethical. Just so you
Nice.
know.
I'm happy to give a title.
So, Willie, this argument they were making, that's pretty much to get them past the loot box ban that the EU was trying to institute, correct? By equating
pretty
it to
much.
a Kinder Egg.
Yep, that's exactly what I was gonna say. A Kinder Egg, or they even called something else. I forget what they call. They used a couple different terms. Most of them I know Kinder Eggs, but there's one I just like. What the fuck is that? It must be like a European thing. I'm guessing. I don't know it. But yeah, they're equating like little surprise toys that kids get that they don't know what they're getting. But cost more than a quarter when you go to like a grocery store or something and get something from a little quarter machine.
Well, I mean, we're not actually allowed to. They're not allowed to sell Kinder Eggs in the United States because they're a choking hazard. Because they don't
Well, they
trust
kinda
kids
still
not to
do.
eat the toys inside. No, they sell a different Kinder Surprise or whatever, where like you dip
Yeah.
things into a hazelnut spread. Not like when I lived in Germany and Belgium, the actual Kinder Egg was a hollow milk chocolate egg that was probably about yay big around, and inside was a little yellow
know.
plastic shell, and that shell had a toy of some kind, be it a little puzzle, a little statue, anything like that.
I said they kinda do.
Kinda, he says. No,
Yeah,
but you're right.
like we have the Americanized version of it, designed
Yeah,
not to
so-
kill stupid children. Which it'd be better if we had the kind that kills stupid children.
And so I remember talking about this. I don't even know how long ago. When pretty much like who was the first country in Europe to do it? Was it Belgium?
Yeah, I believe so.
And then I remember hearing EA saying, "Well, we're still gonna do it anyway in FIFA." So this is them still gonna do it.
Yup.
They don't give any kind of fucks.
They give literally none.
Yeah.
And here's the question is, how long does it take the courts in the EU to basically come in and shut that down? Because it's blatantly still against what they've ruled against. They've just changed the nomenclature a little bit to be like, it's a surprise box. Woo! And some bullshit like that.
I mean, hopefully soon. But I've told my thoughts on loot boxes. If they're done right, they're not a problem at all. Like when Battlefront 2 first came up, that was a problem. I don't even know how they fixed it or if they did or anything because I didn't stick with it. I heard that's better now or whatever it is, but that was terrible. But I mean, you do it like I've always said, Overwatch. None of that matters. It's all cosmetic. It doesn't change the game at all. You can be anybody you want. You just might not get the costume you want, which you can earn in game very easily.
I think, yeah, that's how they should do these things. But the thing is, they like to put content behind these doors. Big, hey, you're not advancing as quick as you want. Here, give us $5. You'll get more experience on some of this nonsense. I think there's a difference between legit surprise boxes, for lack of a better term, and then loot boxes that are designed to make you sink money to pay to win. And that's been the problem we've had for everything.
Willie, from the article I found, it was in early 2012, EA was voted the worst company in the whole United States in a poll conducted by The Consumerist. And then they did the poll again in 2013, and EA won the award again. So that's where this all started, with them being the worst company in the world.
Okay.
I'm pretty sure we covered this on one of our very first episodes of this podcast.
Yeah.
Like episode 7, I want to say, was when this first result came out, and we ripped on it and ripped on
Well, I
EA.
wasn't there.
No, you weren't. I'm just saying it ties back to the history of things here. Is it's always been kind of shitty, some of the stuff they've done. But the problem is loot boxes, as much as we keep complaining about them, they keep finding, and not just EA, all companies keep finding ways to shove them in there to do more with them. So how does it stop? What do we do as consumers? Do we just say, I'm not going to play any game that has that? Because you're not going to be playing any games anymore, basically, besides like Marvel's Spider-Man. That's about it. Let's think of, and God of War. What are some recent games that haven't had a pay-to-win mechanic in it? Or, excuse me, a loot box mechanic of some kind in it?
Dead by Daylight. There are no loot boxes.
Yeah, I give that to you.
Okay.
And
So you can buy
Apex,
skins.
you
can buy
Apex,
skins.
well, you can buy they had loot boxes. Never mind.
Yeah, Apex has loot boxes. But no, Dead by Daylight, you can buy skins, you can buy characters, but you can't buy any type of item that unlocks random characters or random skins.
But can you buy those perks that for like characters you don't have or you haven't upgraded? Can you buy those with orc cells, the paid with money ones, or can you only do that with iridescent shards?
I don't think you can use the auric cells, the ones that you pay for. I don't think you can buy specific perks. You have to use the shards that you earn in game in the shrine.
Actually, that doesn't even matter. That doesn't even matter anyway because I mean, it's still because you know what you're getting anyway. Then with your money.
Either way, you know what you're getting. But if you could use the auric cells to buy those abilities without buying the character, that would be pay to win because you could specifically buy those abilities. But you have to buy those abilities in Dead by Daylight with the shards that you earn by actually playing the game. I don't think you can buy them in the. I think the auric cells only work for the cosmetics. Which basically means, that game is set up to where the only money you spend on it, if you don't want to buy characters, is to buy stuff that changes the way you look, which doesn't matter in game. It doesn't change the play style. It doesn't make. There's no way to buy a win in Dead by Daylight.
And I do want to appreciate Chris going with the PlayStation first party games as the model that we all need to appreciate and love.
Well, I mean, Microsoft isn't doing it for the Gears games, I don't think, and stuff like that. That's just what came to mind originally, was that Spider-Man, one of the things they build themselves on is the fact that they weren't going to paywall off a bunch of stuff to get in there. It was more of, we're going to do more story content eventually that you'll pay for, but everything is there in the game. I'm okay with DLC story content, which if you go back 5-6 years ago, I wasn't always okay with. But I've kind of adjusted now. I realized, hey, if they're going to give me actual good story content that's not just a matter of them not finishing a story to do DLC later, I'm okay with that. I don't like games that feel like they have holes in them designed just for DLC. Spider-Man didn't feel like it had a hole in it. It's like, but here, we're going to shove some DLC in later.
Yeah. And that was an actual well-built game, and it was a fully functioning game the day it came out.
Yes.
Oh, and they did add some little bits and pieces there, but nothing. I mean, there was a lot of glitches and stuff, like people rolling on the water far out the map bounds. But let's tuck this a little bit farther back. In God of War, no DLC, no nothing. The game was the game was the game. Do you miss those days?
I do, and you don't see it a ton. It looks like you might have that with Gears 5 when that comes out. They did already talk about the fact you get a Terminator skin that comes with it, but who cares? It's a skin pack. I'm not too concerned about that.
I learned my lesson. No more pre-orders. No more pre-orders of any game that has EA on it.
What are you talking about? BioWare said and EA said they're committed to 8 to 10 years of life on Anthem, and we all believe them, right?
8 to 10 years of a game that I'm playing by myself. The servers are
because no one else is playing it.
Yeah. When the new Stronghold came out, I played it the night that it launched. I literally queued up on Grandmaster 1, which was the only level that anybody's been queuing up for because no one's going for 2 and 3 because the loot system was broken. And I loaded into that Stronghold by myself and ran that dungeon by myself because there were no other people trying to load into that Stronghold that night at that time on the day it came out.
I love it.
The numbers are not doing good.
No, they need to get their S together because Dragon Age 2 or whatever it is, if they don't have that work, we're not getting any more BioWare. What, Willie?
Did you just say get their S together?
Sometimes I censor myself a little bit. It's okay.
Just making sure we weren't doing that now, because then I've been really fucking up.
You've been really effing up.
I refuse.
Are we doing that?
I fucking refuse.
No, we're not doing that.
I'm just a little worried. Like, oh, am I doing something wrong?
No. We're far too gone down this rabbit hole of adult language to be able to come out of it now.
Yeah, we've been fucking this rabbit hole for a while.
Why were you effing a rabbit hole?
Why not?
Are you that hard up for it that you're gonna fuck a hole in the ground?
At this point,
I mean, how else do you fuck Mother Earth? Let's impregnate this bitch.
Showing her some love.
God damn it!
You asked. Willie answered.
God damn it! What was I thinking?
I'm sure every one of us have has been walking around and just found a fleshlight in the dirt, right?
No.
I mean, Chris, right?
No.
I guess I'm just the 1 in 3 people that does that.
Yeah.
Oh,
You weirdo.
No. Oh, no.
We should probably, do actual show stuff instead of talk about Willie's dick.
It works.
Are you sure you don't want to change the episode title to "Fuck the Mother Earth"?
No. Boy, you guys are doubling down on the needless profanity. I'm impressed.
You called for this with your S.
What was I effing thinking, huh?
Well, let's go back. Let's use Marvel as an example here. Let's go back to Avengers 2: Age of Ultron. You hit Tony Stark saying, what was it? Did Captain America just use a swear? What did he say? He made fun of him for using a word in the very beginning. Yeah, language.
Yeah, no. Tony hit the
he
shield and he said shit, and then Cap said language.
That's it. Yeah, he made fun of him for that. And let's go back to Endgame. That is America's ass.
Mm-hmm.
Hmm?
They've
you set
all
something up.
grown as characters.
You're
And
just
now
jealous.
he curses.
You're just jealous that you don't have America's ass, Willie.
That's because I got a greater ass.
Do you now? You've got the world's ass, is what you're saying?
I was just going to go with North America's ass. The
Oh.
continent.
Old size ass.
Wow, that was mean.
That was mean.
That was
Mhm.
mean. That was mean.
That was very mean.
Well, Willie collects himself because he's sad that people are mean to him. We'll move on to the next news grouping here. I took a few different video game stories and put them in one because I figured, why the hell not? So let's start first with some Xbox hardware. I'm a self-admitted Xbox fan. I have all 3 consoles of this generation. I defer to my Xbox more often than not, I think is a fair way to say it. Would you guys not agree?
'Cause you like that
If I
thick
had all three,
controller.
I would not.
I
But
didn't ask what
obviously.
you would do. I was saying if it's fair for me to say I defer to that one more often than not.
And that's
Yeah.
me agreeing with you. You son of a bitch.
Fair enough. Let's move back into the news story then. So we do know there's going to be another Xbox coming soon, the Project Scarlet device. However, there had been rumors that Microsoft was exploring two next-gen Xboxes. There was the Project Scarlet one, which we saw announced. There was also another one that was the lower-end cloud console, as it was rumored, with a limited amount of tasks available for computing. Basically, it was designed to hook into Project X Cloud and basically be a dumb receiver for it. It seems like this one that was codenamed Lockhart was originally going to appear in holiday 2020. However, Phil Spencer said in an interview with Business Insider they're basically focused on one console, that being Project Scarlet and what we put on stage, i.e., what they showed off at E3. So it looks like Lockhart is scrapped, and it looks like this was done many weeks ago. And why? Because developers had concerns and wanted to put a bigger focus on the xCloud setup itself. So while they might introduce a basic box to access, this is hard, xCloud in the future, they are focusing on a single Project Scarlet launch for holiday 2020 alongside Halo Infinite. So guys, is it smart for them not to put two next-gen consoles out at the same time? Discuss.
Yeah.
Well, from what I heard is that Stadia destroyed that thing. They canceled it because of it.
Mike, you're probably right that the advent of Stadia probably had them go, well, shit.
So that's what I've heard. Well, I mean, that makes sense.
I mean, but here's the thing. If you want to have cloud services available, you just make it so they'll work on the older hardware. And then you don't have to have people buy new hardware. You make it so that if I've got my original Xbox One, I can download an app out of the Microsoft Store or whatever that is Project X Cloud, and that way I can launch any of those games that are coming out. So the hardware that I have locally doesn't matter. My internet connection matters. I have to have a robust connection to basically get this. But if you can basically turn every Xbox into a dumb box for xCloud, you've already got this dumb Lockhart box they were talking about building. And I don't see any reason why they couldn't do that. If Google can take a Chromecast and basically make it a receiver for streaming video gameplay, why can't you do it with an Xbox, which has arguably more horsepower? They've also done it with cell phones through Stadia. Now, Xbox is also doing the same thing with xCloud. We saw it on the E3 showroom floor, but I don't think they need this cloud-based box. If they basically say, hey, you've got all this hardware out there. They just released an Xbox One S that has no disk drive in it. You basically turn that into your dumb box, make it your cheapest thing, make it $150. Like, hey, you can play all the digital games you want, but you can also access the xCloud cloud to play anything that this hardware couldn't render. I think that would actually be a decent idea, and maybe that's the final play here.
Are there any games that have come out that are not digital?
No, all games are digital, is my understanding. If there is a physical
God, I
version, there
remember.
is a digital version. However, if there is a digital version, it does not necessarily mean there is a physical version.
Oh yeah, of course.
I just
I
wanted
remember
to put
when
that
they were.
caveat there.
I remember when they were first saying there was a big thing like you can download this entire game to your hard drive. Oh, I remember those days.
Yeah, and nowadays I have 6 terabytes of storage on my Xbox, so I just install and download everything and don't even worry about it.
Yep.
I'm
5
like,
gigabytes
I'm like,
there.
storage management. What the hell is that? Throw a bigger hard drive on there. Problem solved.
How many games is it on your Xbox
How many games that are
Yeah.
installed or that I have
that are installed?
that are installed? 168.
I have right around that. I don't have my PlayStation right here, but I have that on my PlayStation
Because
as
I've
well.
got a bunch of
So
those.
nice.
I've got a bunch of those indie games, and when they put out stuff with games with gold, I've done that. And then since I have Game Pass until August right now, I think I've downloaded like 4 different games I want to try. Sea of Thieves is on there, State of Decay 2, a couple other things. I was like, I want to play this. Metro Exodus, they were all available on Game Pass. I'm like, download, and I'll get to it eventually. Ironically, I've been playing my Switch for the last few days, not my Xbox. But we'll get into that at the end of the show.
I kind of figured I was gonna ask, but I was like, nah, I'm not gonna ask.
Yeah, so let's
It's gonna come up later.
Step back a second to this whole concept of a second console for cloud. While Microsoft may not be going that route of a second console, we do know they want to make xCloud playable for many different things. Supposedly, they're going to have about 3,500 games supported on xCloud at launch, compared to Google Stadia that announced 16. That's a big difference.
Yeah, and we've seen consoles fail because of the amount of titles that are available on launch day.
I mean, their intent is basically anything that's an Xbox game that plays on an Xbox One plays on xCloud.
Well, to be fair as well, let's go back to the Virtual Boy. That had 12 games.
Yeah.
Not at launch, in total for
In
the
total.
entire run of its
Yes.
life.
But
I think
that
there
one
was
also
one or two
caused,
more in Japan.
brain-splitting migraines and epileptic seizures. So it wasn't just the lack of titles that hurt that console. It had other
I will say it did not happen to me because I have one.
I played one of those, I think, twice and got a massive migraine.
Well, I
It's
mean,
not unheard of.
aren't you a little susceptible to migraines though?
At the time, I wasn't. I hadn't
Oh,
really
fair enough.
started getting migraines. That, if anything, all my migraines might be due to the first time I tried the Virtual Boy.
oh, you can blame all your pain on Nintendo.
It broke my fucking brain with their red lines.
I like it. Although Mario Tennis was the tits on that game and that console.
Have you played it on Switch yet? I've considered it because it was down to like $35, but I was like, I don't know if I
What, the
wanna play it.
Virtual Boy?
Oh, sorry, Mario Tennis for Switch. Excuse me.
Oh no, I don't give a shit about Mario Tennis anymore. That was back when I was younger. Give me some Mario Golf, maybe I'll get it. Mario Tennis, I can do without it.
We got
Mario
Golf Story, though.
Strikers? Bring Mario. Yeah, that's true. Bring me Mario Strikers. I might get back into that because I've loved that for the Wii, but they haven't done so.
Apparently, what Suncast heard was Mario Tits.
Yeah, Mario Tits.
There you go.
My audio might be messing up for everyone else. I don't know.
That's been all right to me. But let me go next with some other stories that came out of the tail end of E3 we didn't get to talk about. Nintendo announced a Breath of the Wild sequel by showing, 45 seconds of video that was Zelda with a haircut and then Breath of the Wild styled Link that were in a dark cave. We don't know what's coming. Did you guys hear why they're doing this sequel? Other than, they like money?
Money? Yeah.
Other than that.
Go on.
So
people like Link.
I guess the original idea is they wanted to do some more DLC for Breath of the Wild. They had more ideas for DLC, and as they started fleshing it out, they went, this is too much content for DLC. Why don't we just make a sequel to Breath of the Wild? And that's how it came about.
Hold on. This is Nintendo thinking this is too much DLC. This is from a company that doesn't quite understand how the internet works with their system.
Well, to be fair, they did put out 2 DLCs for Breath of the Wild. They've put out multiple DLCs for Super Smash Bros. They're starting to get how DLC works in the modern day.
No, I just mean like internet in general. Like, hey, let me plug in a microphone into my Switch so I can talk to people online. Let me do that.
Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh yeah, I have to plug it into my fucking phone, download the Nintendo app, and hopefully it has a goddamn thing to where I can do that with people.
He's not wrong.
Better yet, let's go back even further. Let's go a little simpler. Let me just send a message to one of my friends on Nintendo Switch. Just a text message.
But Willie, you
Can't
know
do
how it gets more complicated though, is when you start getting into games like say Fortnite and other things like that. If you want to talk to people in that, you don't have to pull up the Nintendo app. You just plug
What do you do?
headphones with a microphone into your Switch, and it just works. It just works.
What? So Fortnite, fucking Epic figured it out, but Nintendo are just over there jerking themselves off.
So that's not what it is. Although I like the analogy and I like the hand gestures, it makes me laugh. It's more of Nintendo's grand concept of this Switch app wasn't that the Switch wasn't capable of handling voice or anything like that. It's that they wanted to put people on that for their reasoning being they could better control what was going on and blah blah blah. The only reason you get voice on Fortnite and potentially other stuff is because they'd already built that infrastructure out and said, look, this is how you have to interact with people. We can't really put this out and not have the chat feature working. So they had to kind of bend the knee.
The one thing I've always heard is to protect the kids. Fuck the kids.
Oh,
no one gives a shit about them.
Well, and
Just
the kids
give
are
us
assholes.
what we want. Exactly. Just give us what we want. I mean, the kids are worse to talk to us. Jesus Christ, you know how many kids have had sex with my mom?
Evidently a lot. Whenever I go online, they're all like, "Oh, you banged your mom," and I'm
apparently.
like,
Millions.
Your mom too.
She must be tired.
All moms are apparently tired because all these 8-year-olds are just having sex with them. How am I a pedophile? Because some kid has had sex with my mom. That
because
makes no
you
sense,
said the
Stargate.
phrase "fuck these kids." That's why.
Oh,
Yeah, that was a
oh,
mistake.
oh,
That was a
yeah,
mistake.
That was the phrase you used.
figuratively, not literally. With
There
my
we go.
fist in their face. They had the caveat in their face.
In their face, yeah. Otherwise, it's
Bam! I could take out so many 8-year-olds. Oh my god!
We've had this conversation before. I'm
dinner?
gonna pull the
Think about the
conversation
dinner
back.
movie?
No, I've thought about this because I think my joy and happiness from taking one out will give me the energy, even if I'm waning, to beat 2 more up. So I beat another one up, 2 more power. Boom, boom. It's an infinite loop of 8-year-olds getting their face beat in.
Are you
Tooth
gonna,
Fairy's gonna be out of business because I'm taking the teeth.
Are you gonna partner with Tim Tom to do this? He's probably about 8 years old now. It could be the
He's
Willie
the
and
first
Tim Tom
motherfucker
story.
I'm gonna put my foot right into. He's gonna run at me, front kick.
Jesus.
I cannot wait.
I figured we could get an awkward buddy cop movie as you and Tim Tom team up to take out 8-year-olds.
There you go.
I've been on this force for 20 years, and never have I seen an asshole like you to match my attitude as of me.
All right, so we'll step back a sec. So Nintendo, while they can't figure out text chat on their devices, they are putting out a sequel to Breath of the Wild because they had too many ideas that were going to be DLC. So the real question is, how bad do they get beat up if the Breath of the Wild sequel is thin and doesn't have a ton of content? Probably pretty bad.
You know that it doesn't fucking matter. This thing's gonna sell. It's
Yeah,
Zelda.
fair.
It's
Zelda.
Nintendo. It's gonna fucking sell. It's not gonna. Sure, it might get bad reviews, but people are gonna buy it, so it doesn't fucking matter. You put Zelda on it, it sells. Unless you're Capcom, because those Game Boy games didn't really sell too well. For
Have
me.
you played
Or
the
did
new?
they?
Have you played the new one they dropped? The Zelda Cadence of whatever.
No, I don't. No, I don't care about that at all because I don't care about rhythm dungeon crawling. That does not sound enticing to me at all because it's based on the other. What's the other game? The original one. Because they just kind of
Is it based off Oracle of Seasons and stuff like that? Is that what you
No,
mean?
no. There was another game that was a rhythm dungeon crawling that was on the Switch.
Oh, I don't know.
Yeah, and then they I guess Nintendo said, "Hey, let's make a Zelda one for it." And they said, "All right, well, you give us Nintendo money, we'll do that shit."
Yeah.
I forget the title off the top of my head, but yeah, because I remember seeing it like a couple weeks ago. I was like, yeah, that doesn't seem too enticing. I just don't like the rhythm and moving and attacking. That doesn't. I want to hit something when I want to hit something. That 8-year-old's gonna lose his teeth when I say so, not when the music's playing.
Right then. I got one last thing I wanted to talk about then, which is the fact Niantic dropped a new game this week. And Willie, I know you're going to have strong thoughts and feelings here, but for those that aren't familiar,
I know we're gonna talk about more loot boxes.
for those that aren't familiar, Niantic is the maker of a little unknown game you might not have heard much of called Pokemon Go. Well, on Friday, and they did launch early in a lot of places, they officially launched Harry Potter Wizards Unite, which is basically, for lack of a better term, a more mature version of Pokemon Go. There's more to it than just throwing Pokeballs at things, but it's also more of a cash grab as I've started playing this game, I've determined. Because for those who aren't familiar, the mechanic in Pokemon Go is much like the Pokemon games. You want to catch everything. Occasionally you get to go into gym battles and stuff and catch things, but really you need Pokeballs. Pokeballs are a relatively finite resource, but if you spin enough Pokestops, you get a boatload of things. You get a boatload of Pokeballs. Harry Potter Wizards Unite, you have spells that you can cast, but you only have X number of magic charges you have that you can then refill by going to inns, which are basically Pokestops. But here's the thing. Once you get to an inn, you get somewhere between 1 to 6 energy back. Each spell costs 1 energy. Each messed up spell costs 1 energy. When you're in a duel, each spell in that costs 1 energy, which is difficult. But not all Pokestops are inns. Some Pokestops are gardens or greenhouses where you can go and get potion-making ingredients, and you get very little energy out of it. And then you have some that are fortresses that are similar to Pokemon Go style gyms where you have to fight different creatures and you can team up with folks to do it. But energy is really hard to get. It's really hard to get. So hard, in fact, that within 2 days, Niantic kind of apologized and said, hey, we're going to give you more energy out of ends, and here's 50 free energy for everyone. You run out of energy real fast. And then, of course, for 50 coins, you can buy. Yes, you have 75 max energy. And here's the thing I don't understand that everyone's kind of pushing Niantic for in the subreddit, is that if you're a wizard who has the ability to cast spells, shouldn't your energy kind of recharge on its own over time also? Your energy doesn't recharge. So like if you go to bed with 7 energy, you wake up with 7 energy. A lot of these other games where you have like spell casting and stuff and you have your own personal battery, for lack of a better term, you get like another energy every 30 minutes or something like that. Niantic's not doing that because they want to encourage you to go to inns and get stuff, which I sort of get. But at the same time, if you're in places that don't have a lot of gyms and stuff like that, you're basically buying more energy for $1.50 for 50 energy. It's not quite right. They've got to clean things up and tailor it a little bit. From someone who's played Pokemon Go a lot, my wife and I started playing the Harry Potter game on Thursday. We went downtown to go get dinner and walked around downtown spinning inns and things like that. And it's interesting. And I like the fact that instead of throwing Pokeballs at things, there's a different mechanic of you have to cast different spells. So there's some variety for what has to be done when it comes to the catching mechanic. It's different, but there's still a lot they need to do. Pokemon Go's got the whole friend system where you can trade gifts back and forth. You can make friends in Harry Potter. You can't do anything with your friends right now. You just see a list of friends. There's a lot more that needs to be done, but it's interesting. For a first start, they've done enough that I'm like, I'll play this from time to time. And I know, Willie, you've probably got strong thoughts on the Harry Potter game, so why don't you
I just
go
had
first?
a thought.
Oh, no.
I just had a thought that Suncast helped me with. So, are you telling me? I didn't put these two together. Are they really just kind of punishing people for not living in a certain area, for not living in a fancier place? Are they the higher end moneymaker people? They live in higher end places. Maybe they get better stuff because they live right there in all the action. But someone who lives out in the country, the poorer people, they don't get that much, do they? They don't have that many stops around, do they?
But part of how stops are done is based off of like landmarks and businesses and stuff like that. So
exactly.
what do you want them to do? Make a landmark for something that's not there? I mean, I understand where you're going with it, but that yes, and it's always been a problem with Pokemon Go, and Suncast put it in there. It's rural players, they're kind of hosed by it because if you're lucky and you're in a more rural area, you might have like 2 or 3 gyms and that's it. Like I thought we had it good in
If
our
you're
downtown
lucky.
here. And then I went to Orlando for a week and I was like, holy shit, when I saw how many Pokemon gyms there were at Universal Studios and places to spin, I was like, I can't go more than like 3 minutes before I can spin something here. This is awesome. So there's a big difference between a densely populated area, and a less populated area.
That's the problem, is that the root of the idea of this whole game system is if you live in a shit area, you're shit out of luck.
Yeah,
So fuck you. We don't care about you.
That's been a problem going back to Ingress. I mean, and that's just the nature of how these games work. And I understand it's a problem, but I don't know how you fix it unless you just put a bunch of arbitrary Pokestops in these places.
Yes.
Yeah, and that would be them paying their coders to do coding that's not going to basically help the game. So why would they do that?
And why doesn't it help them? Because the richer people, they can spend more money on to buy the extra stuff. These poor people, fuck them. We don't care.
Actually, the poor people would be more inclined to spend the money because they can't go and spin and get things for free. So the only way to refill on energy or Pokeballs would be to spend 99 cents. So you're trying to say it's discriminatory towards people who are in less developed areas.
They're casting shade on zip codes is what I'm saying.
Oh, there you go. That is the Willie Nelson theory of things.
And hell, I mean, how else are you going to get whales?
Well, this is the third reskinning of basically the same game, so probably just like Ingress to go to Harry Potter, it'll have its problematic system, and then they'll figure out what things need to be changed, and they'll do corrections as they go.
So,
and also Suncast also put up there too. Go Fest. Have they had a Go Fest actually, work right?
They actually didn't do too bad this year compared to the first one they did. I didn't realize that
did it still work right?
So I didn't realize from what Suncast was saying, if you didn't have a ticket for Go Fest, Grant Park was empty. So it was only people with tickets for Go Fest that got to partake in the abundance of Pokestops.
Is this a free park you can go to at any other day of the week?
Yeah, I think
or
so.
year?
I don't know. I don't know.
Oh,
enough
so you
about
can't
it.
even go to this park unless you have a ticket. This free place to go to.
Well, they
No,
can.
apparently
You
not free
probably
anymore.
you're probably able to rent it out or something like that. I don't know.
So once again, the poor people suffer.
Sure.
Niantic, you can shove that dick right up your own ass because you ain't getting in my ass.
This took a different twist than I was expecting it to, but I'm really entertained by it still.
And it makes
Willie
sense,
becomes
at least,
a
right?
defender of the poor.
You goddamn right I am. I fight for you. And you. And
Willie,
you.
Willie fights for everyone. I will give credit to Niantic though. They launched the game early, and I want to say by Saturday morning they'd already fixed and tweaked the balance on some things based off player feedback. So remember, Pokemon Go was a little rough to begin with, and they had their issues.
A
So
little.
I imagine that they're going to tweak this and make things work better and add different features that folks are wanting. It's just a matter of time. For a game at launch, I found it surprisingly fun, but I already know that I'll end up playing Pokemon Go more because most of the folks I play with are all like, yeah, Harry Potter's the thing I'll play when I have a little extra time. I'm focusing on Pokemon. Because I have a whole group of people I go and play Pokemon Go with. And if that's what they're going to keep playing, that's what I'm going to stick to. But I will say I've had more fun catching stuff in Harry Potter just because I think it's new and it's different. I'm sure the mechanic will eventually kind of just get boring and it'll be less fun. But right now, it's something new and fresh. And I was like, I'm kind of okay with this. I will try this out for a little bit. And I personally like Harry Potter more than Pokemon. I was always more of a Harry Potter fan than a Pokemon fan. And I'm not saying that to cast shade on Pokemon Go. I really enjoy that game. But the world I'm more interested in is the Harry Potter world. So I think the game kind of draws me in a little bit more. And there's actual story and quests that you can partake in the Harry Potter game versus the story in Pokemon Go is catch everything you see. You're trying to uncover a mystery in the Harry Potter Wizards Unite game, which is interesting.
Do you get to choose your house in the Harry Potter game?
You are graduated already. You can pick your house, and when you hit level 6, you also get to pick your profession, and your profession can be magizoologist, orer, professor, and I think there might be one more I'm not remembering, but they're all balanced differently. So like as an orer, my character, I'm weak to creatures, but strong against Death Eaters and Dark Wizards. Magizoologists are strong against creatures, but weak against Dark Wizards, for instance. So you have strengths and weaknesses, and you can, I guess, change your house affiliation and your profession anytime you want. But as you start leveling up your profession, it's really expensive to go back and change professions and try and level that up. So I am pretty much an orer right now because Dark Wizard catching and more offensive spells, hell yeah. Whereas Magizoologists are basically your tanks when you're doing some of these fortresses. They have healing spells and buffs that they can do. So my wife is a Magizoologist. I'm an orer. Our two characters paired fairly well together to be able to combat fortresses.
Mm-hmm.
Willie's not having it.
Mm-mm.
He's not.
He
having
doesn't
it
look
one bit.
enthused.
That's okay, Willie. I understand. Not all games are for everyone, though. It's okay. You don't have to like it.
Yep.
It's fair. It's fair. But you know what is for everyone? Reading's for everyone. And Anthony's going to tell us about stuff.
Mm.
It should be. Sadly, I don't think it is. That's the problem. All right. So, 10 years after finishing the Hunger Games book series, American writer Susan Collins is returning readers to Panem. A prequel set 64 years before the beginning of her best-selling trilogy is expected next year. So we have an unnamed Panem book coming out May 19th, 2020. In this article from learningenglish.voanews.com, it says, Collins said in a statement she would go back to the years following the so-called Dark Days, the failed rebellion in Panem. Collins said the Hunger Games books in the future world where young people fight and kill each other on live TV. With this book, I wanted to explore the state of nature, who we are, what we perceive as required for our survival. She said the rebuilding period that would follow the rebellion provides fertile ground for characters to explore these questions and define their views of humanity. Yeah, for those, of course, everybody should know that that it launched a multiple billion-dollar movie franchise and sold 100 million copies of the books worldwide. So the series did really well. And honestly, I think this is kind of a cool idea of all the weird prequels that we've gotten. Like the Hunger Games really started a lot of this whole, the dystopian future worlds that we're getting, the Death Maze Runner and all the other, was the Detergent, Insurgent, Resurgent series. It led to a lot of books. But I've read all of the actual Hunger Games books, and they're actually really well written for young A or for YA books, and I enjoyed them. So I'm looking forward to this one, and knowing that they're going back far enough to where in book 1 it was the 74th annual Hunger Games, book 2 was the 75th, the Quarter Quell. So going back 64 years from the first book, you'd be in like the 10th Hunger Games. So it'll be right near the start where like society's still getting used to the idea of basically children being murdered on screen for the benefit of the Capitol. And it's far enough back to where any characters that you meet in the prequels, you would expect to be dead before the story of Katniss Everdeen started. So you don't have to keep any characters alive, because I think one of the oldest characters in the books was Woody Harrelson's character, and he was in the 50th Hunger Games. So you're going, 40 years prior to that. You would expect any character at the timeline that she's going to be talking about would be dead, so there shouldn't be any real carryover. So I think it's a good idea to where, prequels sometimes is, prequel, sequel, money grabs, whatever. But if she has an idea for the story that she thinks is worth telling, and then sets it far enough back to where there doesn't have to be any actual carryover between the characters, I think it could work.
Yeah, I don't care. The last book really turned me off on the series. I would rather she do something original. I'm tired. Now I'm going to sort of take a shot here. I'm tired of creators going back to the well and then changing everything. It's not necessarily Suzanne Collins as much as all the J.K. Rowling stuff we've seen, where she keeps retconning her, like, oh, I meant to add this. I meant to add this. This is really what was going on, and tweaking things and changing things. Look at the friggin' Nagini things that we've seen, where now Nagini is magically a person who is trapped in a snake form and becomes Lord Voldemort's familiar versus, just being a badass snake. I'm tired of constantly tweaking the world of things. Just do something new. Don't take things that people have come to love and go back and revisit it and then leave people going, the hell? Why?
I'll say, and my hope is that these are set far enough in the past that it won't have any effect on the books that have already come out.
Maybe I've just got sour grapes because I really hated the last Hunger Games book.
Fair enough. I just finished all three of them, and the third one wasn't as good as the first one, but I enjoyed all of them now that I actually sat down and read all three. They're entertaining. It's not, it's not going to change the world, but it's good dystopian future writing.
That's fair.
It's Battle Royale. It's the Running Man. It's just a new take on that with teenagers. Yeah, I'm looking forward to this. And yeah, reading is fundamental, you bitches. Read more. America's getting dumb. Buy a book. Fuck.
I read on my phone.
Nothing
That
wrong with
doesn't count.
Read on whatever.
Whoa. Why does that not count?
Because you're also looking at Twitter and Instagram and being fucking distracted all the time. Try actually reading a book.
No, I don't.
Willie, don't read.
I'm hardly ever on Twitter. Look at my Twitter. What's the last tweet I put up?
How would I know? I don't read your.
See, here's where I would disagree. I think you can use a phone as a reading platform. There's nothing that says you can't use your Kindle or your Comixology app or anything like that on there. Use whatever device you got to read.
This is just like the I'm 14 and this is deep subreddit. It's all like phone bad, books good.
That's right. I'm
Like,
just a crotchety old man.
Yeah,
That's fair.
yeah, or a 14-year-old, whatever.
Willie doesn't want to punch 14-year-olds in the face, just 8-year-olds.
Yeah, Willie's the 14-year-old. I'm the crotchety old man. But see,
I wouldn't mind punching 14-year-olds
books.
in the face either.
Books are good. You should buy books. Read books.
Are you trying to finger your books?
Yes.
Oh, dear.
Keep
They
doing
like it.
I do too. Keep on going. Let me just hide this hand at a magic spell. Woo, where'd it go?
Ugh.
Looks like my oil's just right.
Oh, I'm so sorry. But hey, on the plus side, we're at the end of things, so you don't have to deal with more masturbation jokes.
Yay!
Just what you think.
Willie, you got more masturbation jokes for us. Here, the floor is yours.
Hold on a sec. You can't just rush a joke like this. All my jokes are reactionary.
What's he gonna do to the floor?
You don't want to know.
Yeah, I was a little forced.
You don't want to
You see, my jokes are
Don't
reactionary.
force the floor, Willie. Jeez.
I'm not doing anything to the floor. It's when I go out to the forest and I find that fleshlight in the ground. Just wait till then. Just clear off all the dirt off of
Oh.
them
Well,
first.
before we start shutting things down, did you guys have any other stories that we may have missed or interesting things from the past week you wanted to bring up news-wise?
Well,
Nothing that's positive.
Well, I mean, yeah, I mean, I'm going to continue that, but I'm still going to talk about it no matter what. I mean, we mentioned it in the beginning. You guys didn't sell my fucking joke like assholes. Endgame is apparently coming back out with DLC.
Well, tell us how you feel about that, Willie.
Movies don't have DLC. It's
This is
coming
the-
out with Blu-ray extras.
Call it DLC because I mean, that's close enough to it in the movie sense. It's a surprise mechanic for a movie,
Is it a surprise if we know that it's there?
but we don't know what it is. So yes, it is a surprise.
It is 8 minutes of footage, I believe, that was after the credits. They did insert a post-credits scene. 8 minutes
Yep.
is what I had heard. I have
In
not
8 minutes.
I have not seen what it is. We did not go to see it. It was only playing in one of the theaters in town this weekend. We didn't go. There's a couple
Oh,
different rumors as to what the content is. Some people say it's more tie-in stuff to Spider-Man, since Spider-Man comes out in like a week and a half.
Oh, it's already out?
No, it comes out in a week and a half.
No, not Spider-Man. The extra footage.
Yes, it came out this weekend, I
Oh.
believe.
What the fuck if I know? I'm not. I just want to read about it because I don't want to pay another ticket to go see. I
That's
mean,
how I
not
look
to
at
say
it,
it's a
too.
bad movie. I'm just saying because I've seen it.
There's also another rumor that what they did is who was the girl that starred in that Netflix series 13 Reasons Why or whatever. She was supposedly played a role in Avengers Endgame that was cut. The rumor is that she played an older version of Morgan Stark that Tony sees after he does the snap kind of in the afterlife, and he has a conversation with her or something to that effect. That's one of the other rumors of what that possible footage could be, is the conversation that either Tony has or hallucinates where he's talking to an older version of his daughter about why he did what he did. That's one of the theories out there. I don't know what it actually is. And maybe I had it wrong that it's out now because I haven't heard anyone talk about the footage now that I'm thinking about it.
Yeah, so that's why I was wondering. 'Cause I didn't see because I mean I would just read about what it is and what what
mean,
goes on. That's good enough for me till the Blu-ray gets
Let's be
released.
honest. We all know why they're doing this, don't we?
I know
Take the
what
number
you're
one
gonna
spot
say.
from
And I'm
Avatar.
going, no. That's not. I mean, that's what's going to happen. But it's just because of money. That's why they don't give a fuck about Avatar. They just want more money, like everyone. So I mean, I'm not blaming them. I doubt they give a fuck about being the number one of all grossing.
They do.
Yeah, they
It's
do.
Disney. It's Disney. They care. They care a lot. The fact that Avatar and Titanic have both been re-released and James Cameron holds a lot of those records, Disney wants a Disney movie at the top of Box Office Mojo. You better believe they fucking care.
But also,
There
it's
are
probably
people
mostly
at
more
Disney.
money.
Oh, they want the money for sure. But believe me, there are people at Disney that are arguing about why a Disney movie isn't the number one money-making movie of all time.
And I will correct myself here. I spoke incorrectly. The re-release is on June 28th. So we're 5 days away from the re-release of Endgame.
Okay, yeah, I thought it was 2 weeks prior to Spider-Man.
So that is part of what is feeding in that theory that maybe it's more stuff that ties into Spider-Man, or it's like an extended trailer to Spider-Man they tack on. I don't know, because they've already done so much fucking content on Spider-Man. It's really annoying. I've just stopped consuming any of it.
I saw the trailers. I have no idea anything else. I keep seeing memes of like, hey, is Mysterio good or bad? I don't fucking know. Is he supposed to be good in the movie? I don't fucking know. I just saw the trailers. You know as much as I do, or more than I do, so I don't care. I'll
Well,
see the movie when it comes out.
We can look at the recent phase of Marvel movies where you have big name actor who is supposedly mentor to main character. They're all bad guys lately. So my guess is if the trend continues, he'll end up being the bad guy. Plus, you know, Mysterio, it just kind of makes sense that he would want to screw with him.
I mean, there is an exception to that. You know, Tony Stark and Spooderman.
Okay, new casting people to do that. Let me. Okay, you are correct. You got me. You win, Willie. You win.
Oh, no.
Mother trucker.
Don't worry, my ego's already inflated as much as it can be.
Something's got to be inflated on you.
Yeah. give me about 30 seconds and a good thought. I'll get you there.
What about that hole in the ground?
That's where it's going.
So, all right, here's the question I have. Willie, are you going to go see the re-release of Avengers Endgame?
I thought I already said no.
I
I'm just
couldn't-
gonna read it what it is and wait
I
for the
couldn't
Blu-ray
remember.
release.
Anthony, are you going to go see the re-release of Avengers Endgame?
Since I've already spent 6 hours and 4 minutes in the theater watching that movie, no, I'm not going to do it a third time.
This is a Marvel release movie that you're not going to?
This doesn't count because it's a re-release.
Do you hear this, Chris? You hear this? This don't count.
I don't know.
Just like
This is not opening day for Endgame.
This is going to have to go to the judges. It's opening game for the new cut, the extended cut of Endgame, though.
now let's look at
I
Bachman's
didn't go see
history
the
here.
bullshit cut of Deadpool either.
Yeah,
It doesn't fucking count.
I don't know. I actually wanted to see that more, even though I didn't, more than the Endgame, just because it has what's his nuts in it?
Fred Savage.
Yeah,
Fred
yeah.
Savage.
And that adds more to it. It's not just something like, ooh.
That'll be
it's
funny,
like-
but
it's funny.
I'm gonna buy the Endgame Blu-ray. I'm gonna see these fucking scenes on the Blu-ray. I'm not gonna pay to see the movie a third time in theaters just to get the fucking one Blu-ray extra early when I'm gonna buy the Blu-ray anyways.
But let's look at the history of Bachman here. When he has hard set rules, Marvel movies, opening day, there. Well, let's look back on the. Let's go back to Funko Pops. What did he say when he first started collecting them? What was he only gonna get? There was no exceptions. I'm only gonna get. What was it? Chris, help me
Movie
out.
villains.
Oh, it was
Movie
movie villains. I thought it was
villains.
just villains. Okay, movie villains. Okay, I didn't even put that caveat to it. But
Yeah, no,
yeah.
originally it was movie villains.
Yeah, so would you say your rules changed?
I kept that one for about a year.
But would you say it changed? Yes or no? Answer the question.
Yeah, I decided to buy more Funko Pops.
And now here goes a Marvel movie. Sure, it's a re-release, but it's still getting released with new stuff. You don't count that?
No.
Rules changing us, eh?
I'm glad Willie's busting all of our balls today instead of just me. All of our collective balls have been busted, but today, Willie, thank you. Thank you. I salute
I
you.
mean, I think I busted my own balls here. When I slam it into Mother Earth. I'm I'm making fun of myself saying I'm actually having a fleshlight in the
This
ground.
guy's creepy.
That's more against my character than anything I've said against you guys.
Willie's
So-
creepy, and you know it.
Yeah, we do.
Well, now that we've creeped everyone out, it's time for
No, I have.
It's time for us to start wrapping up the show. And how do we wrap up the show? It's a little segment called What I'm Into. It's our chance to share with you guys who are watching live or listening at a later date just what kind of geeky and or nerdy things we've been getting into so that maybe, just maybe, you'll want to go check them out yourself. So Anthony, why don't you kick us off?
Let's see. I'm almost done with season 10 of Supernatural because that show just is going to run forever and I love it and it's fucking ridiculous. And it's one of the best things to watch every night. I got all caught up on Legion. I think I'm all caught up on all of my comic book shows now. Caught up on Preacher. Yeah, I'm caught up on everything except I think I'm one episode behind on Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D., which more Fitzsimmons is always good. And everything I saw yesterday or Friday online is that there's going to be a whole bunch of Fitz and Simmons in this episode, so I'm looking forward to that. I've been playing a whole bunch of Dead by Daylight. I saved up 1 million blood points so that Tuesday when Ghostface came out, I was able to quickly rank him up to like level 32 or 33, which was kind of fun actually just buying through the blood web and just tearing through a bunch of levels. And I think I've gotten him up to a level 40 now, so I've already got all of his perks unlocked and teachable to my other characters. And yeah, just playing a bunch of Dead by Daylight, playing a fair amount of Apex Legends. Went back and me and a friend were talking about Borderlands 3 coming out. She had mentioned that she hadn't played any Borderlands at all. And I had mentioned that I had the Handsome Jack collection and never actually played the prequel. So we started the pre-sequel together and started playing that, which was kind of fun. We did about 3 hours the other night, just from the very start of the game through the first like 4 or 5 missions. So that was a blast, actually laughing out loud at some of the jokes because it's Borderlands and fucking Borderlands games are funny. So that's been enjoyable. And then sticking to on the Goodreads reading challenge, I'm 1 book behind schedule, but I've got 27 books completed of the 60 I'm trying to do this year. I've been getting through a bunch of my old Kickstarter books finally. So I read Metal Shark Bro, which was a hilarious fucking demon possessed shark that is a heavy metal fan running around killing people. That was a fun one. I read Unmasked, the New Age Heroes Volume 1 by Saron Bragalia. Really crazy take on a world where all the superheroes disappeared, then a new generation of them show up, and all the new ones are basically a bunch of murdering bastards, so they're trying to figure out who they are. And it was fun. And then finished Oh Hell Volume 1 Chrysalides, which is a bunch of teenagers basically get sent to hell by either shitty parents or bad foster care system, and they end up in hell and get sent out having to try to get people to sell their souls, and that's the only way that they can basically get out of hell. Really creepy book. The artwork on it is fantastic, though. Reminds me a lot of Ryan Otley, the artist in here. Has some really good line work skills and some really cool design concepts for the demons and stuff in hell. And then probably the funnest one, I finally read Tom and Craig's Perhapanauts Into the Hollow Earth, which is a prequel book of basically the first adventure of Big and Chupacabra and the whole group. If you haven't read any of the Perhapanauts, they're freaking hilarious. It's a bunch of basically mythological legends all together on a team, kind of like the BPRD. There's a slightly different version of it, but yeah, they got a ghost, they got a Sasquatch, they got a Chupacabra, they got a telepath. Just fun stuff. Yeah, got through those, and I've still got a good, probably 80, 90 more Kickstarter books on my bookcase that I have to get through. So
God damn.
I'm going to keep up. Yeah, I have an entire bookcase of books that I bought when Hastings went on sale, when I worked at the Idaho Youth Ranch, and from Kickstarters that I backed. I have a separate bookcase that's 3 shelves deep and has books stacked up on top of it that is completely full of books I still haven't read yet. So yeah, I really don't need to buy books. I have lots of them. But yeah, the Goodreads book challenge I'm liking because I'm sticking with it. I might go back down to 50 again next year. But yeah, trying to get through at least 50 books a year to make sure I'm like constantly getting through this back catalog, because they had been sitting there for a while and I hadn't read anything for a bit. So getting through those, and I'm now on the 4th Percy Jackson book. I bought that box set. When I'm done with that one, I'm probably going to start the Game of Thrones books. So yeah, I got me a big stack of books I'm getting through. So yeah, it's been fun. I've been reading a lot and enjoying stories. And yeah, Percy Jackson's fun because I read it during my breaks at work now. So put away the financial bullshit, get the numbers out of my head, and spend 15 minutes twice a day, reading ridiculous stories about mythological demigods and creatures. It's been enjoyable.
And from what I remember, those chapters aren't super long, so that's like you can knock out a chapter or two in a break, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, and I mean they're pretty fast books. I mean, I'm a slow reader, and when I bought the box set was like less than 2 months ago, and yeah, I'm already on the 4th book, and I'm only reading them at work during my breaks and then lunch. So I'll go eat, a bowl of soup or whatever, and then spend 20-25 minutes reading the book. And yeah, I'm already on the 4th book.
Nice.
And yeah, if anything, reading through those, it makes me sad that the second movie didn't do as well. And so I don't think we'll get any more of the movies, because they ended up doing some really cool shit later on in those books when they introduced some of the other gods. When they introduced Apollo and his basically race car, which is the sun going across the sky. Like some of the concepts in there would have been really cool to see in a movie. But yeah, they're enjoyable. I'm liking them, so I'm looking forward to getting through the last of those, and then yeah, once I dive into Game of Thrones, like that's going to be like the one big one for a while. So if I'm reading those at work, those are big and dense. So they're probably not going to go quite as fast as the Percy Jackson novels. More than likely, I won't finish those this year. But
that's fair.
They'll be getting added to the list. But yeah, that's what I've been getting into.
So I'll go next then. What I've been getting into, Borderlands 2. I finished all of the DLC for Commander Lilith and whatever the full title of it is. I did most of it by myself, and I realized that my turret gunner by himself is ridiculously overpowered, where I could throw 2 turrets out and basically just step back and let them rape face on everything. They're ridiculous. So there's only one part of the game where I had difficulty, and it was the last Sir Hammerlock challenge, where there's a creature I had to go and beat. And it was incredibly hard, so I opened up to anyone to come and join and play. And we had 4 people went and took this beast out. And it wasn't terrible, but it was a 90 gamer score achievement when it was all said and done that it unlocked for that. Not a ton of people had done it, but here is what I have noticed on Borderlands 2 right now. It's great they put this DLC out, but there's not a ton of people on there playing it. Like yesterday around like noon, I tried to go and play a game online to try and find players. I couldn't find any active players to play with. Or at least if they were playing, there were no open spots in their parties or anything like that. Maybe it's because my character was level 46. I don't know what it was, but I tried a couple different times yesterday to find a group to go and join just because I'd already beat everything, but I wanted to play a little more and try and see what else I could unlock, and I couldn't find a group. So while I think it's awesome they put this DLC out, it probably doesn't help that the game is 7 years old. There's not a huge player base on there. Even on Xbox right now, where they just added the Handsome Collection to Game Pass, where I figured that might help boost numbers temporarily. I was a little disappointed to see there weren't a ton of people on there. Have you guys had a chance to play the DLC for the free DLC they put out for Borderlands 2?
Nope.
I don't even know if I downloaded it. Did it auto download the other day?
I don't
If
know
you
if it
have
auto
the Handsome
downloaded.
Jack?
I don't know. You would. You
think
might
you
want
have
to
to go
go
in the
and
store and get it.
check. Go to the store and get it because it's only free for the first month it's out. So
So
even
like
if you're
July 7th?
yeah, something like
Okay.
that. Even if you're
I'll have
not
to
planning
check
on
that.
playing it immediately, go and download it so that you can play it later. And it's a bunch of story missions. And I think I touched on it last week. Like, it takes place after the Borderlands Telltale game. So the things that happen in the Telltale game, there's fallout in Borderlands 2 that they have to deal with. And there are characters that you met in Borderlands 2 that die in Tales from the Borderlands that you're dealing with the fallout of that. That's all I'm going to say. Is you meet people and they
Yeah.
die, and then you have to deal with it in this game. It was
Yeah, you spoiled it for me already.
it was.
Wait,
I didn't
is
spoil
it
any
Tiny
names.
Tina?
I'm not
No.
spoiling
Gonna be
any
sad?
names. I'm not gonna
Okay.
tell you.
I don't care if anybody else dies as long as it's not Tiny
As
Tina.
long- if-
She's my
I'm
favorite.
upset
Why are you
She's
upset,
my
Willie?
favorite.
Why are you upset?
because I know who it is.
Who is it?
You already told. You already said it on the podcast.
No,
so
I
why you-
didn't.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't.
Who? It had to be. Was it on a pre-show or post-show then?
I didn't talk about it on the podcast. I said someone dies, but I'm not going to mention who it was.
We talked about it because I was like, no, he died. What?
I don't remember. Maybe I did. I don't recall.
I don't care. You could not spoil it, but I will. Scooter dies.
Catch
I
a
no longer-
ride!
Spoilers.
No longer
Spoilers.
can you catch a ride from Scooter.
I mean, I don't know if it's really spoilers. The Tales from the Borderlands has been out like 4 years at this point. Hell, you can't even buy it in some places now because Telltale shut doors.
I still have still on my. I think I have it downloaded to my 4 terabyte hard drive
You
or
should be
external
good.
hard drive.
You should be good.
I think it's still there. I don't know.
So I finished through on that. I tried to find people to play. Couldn't find people to play on that one. And then I was going to pick up and start playing Final Fantasy again on my Switch. And one of the guys I follow on Twitter, who he talks a bunch about movies but occasionally Switch games, started talking about this game he started playing called My Friend Pedro. Now, I didn't know much about it, and then I went and watched some YouTube videos. And how to best describe it, I'll steal a quote from Polygon. My Friend Pedro is a 2D side-scrolling shooter where you can slow down time, split your aim in 2 directions, choose the weapon or weapons, and then let fly and even spin to dodge bullets coming at me. It's basically a pastiche of films like The Matrix, John Wick, Equilibrium, and anything else where it's described as gun fu.
It's kind of like a 2D version of Super Hot.
Yeah, that's fair. And it is incredibly fun. I guess it came out on the 20th for the Nintendo Switch and PC. It's by Devolver Digital and Dead Toast Entertainment. And you can go through and play it multiple times. You can jump through windows and shoot people. You can turn bullet time off and on. You can dual wield weapons. But then I started finding cool things, like I could kick a basketball. So I kicked a basketball so hard in the back of a dude's head it exploded. It was awesome. There's a video of it on my
the
Twitter.
head exploded
The
or
head
the
exploded.
basketball exploded?
The head exploded. You can go on my Twitter right now, shameless self-promotion, at the Chris Farrell, and I've tweeted probably 6 or 7 videos of me playing My Friend Pedro, where I've just done ridiculously cool moves and gone, this is fantastic. Like, you can jump onto a zip line, turn on bullet time, hang off it upside down, and just start like shooting people left and right, dodging bullets. It's incredibly fun. I am not super skilled, but I still have fun doing it and trying to pull off crazy moves. One of my favorite things I just tried to see whether it would happen is there was a frying pan sitting on the ground, and I went, the hell? I shot the frying pan. It bounced up into the air. I shot it some more with submachine guns. The bullets bounced off of it and killed a dude over top of me. I was like, this is fantastic. And
That
you
was
could
in
like
the trailer.
ninja kick people. Well, I didn't notice it until afterwards, but I've had a bunch of fun with it. Like I said, 2D side-scrolling gun fu is the best way to describe it. It was $20 for the Switch. I don't know what it is for PC. I've had a bunch of fun with it, and I think it's going to be really interesting to see like the GIFs and short videos people share on Facebook and Twitter of just crazy moves they pull off in this game. And I can't wait to go back and replay some of the earlier levels in there now that I have different weapons, because that's part of the challenge of this game is if you can kill all the enemies, how quick you can do it and what kind of style you can do it in, because you get combo points as long as you can string together kills. that's where I start to have difficulty because there's a lot of different button pushes to do.
I will say, if you want to get a more intense thing, try Super Hot VR.
Oh damn!
That's fucking intense. Whoo! It gets a little annoying when you keep dying on the same thing. Like, no, but oh my god, it gets so fun.
Yeah, I don't doubt it. So that's really what I've been getting into, and really, I didn't start playing my friend Pedro until this morning, and I probably spent an hour and a half, 2 hours playing, and my Switch battery was almost down to nothing when I came downstairs to do the podcast, just because I was having so much fun. It's fun. It's not for kids. It's not a kids game. There's blood, there's gore, there's explosions.
Yeah, how many kids play Call of Duty
Yeah, I
with
know,
all
right?
that too, and also say they have sex with your mom?
Well, yeah, I know, right? But to be fair, this is not a game I thought of as being a PC Switch exclusive. I played this game like, this is a Switch console exclusive? What the hell? I'm not complaining, mind you, because it would be super fun just to carry around and play. I've enjoyed it. So if you get a chance, go check out my friend Pedro. Surprisingly fun. Just watch some of the trailer footage, or you can always go to my Twitter and watch me try and pull off moves that aren't quite as cool as what they do in the trailer, but still a lot of fun. I greatly enjoyed it. $20 well spent. I'm totally okay with having spent that money. But that's what I'm getting into. Willie, wrap things up for us. What are you getting into, sir?
Well, I'm playing a lot of Dead by Daylight still. I haven't really got to play too much, but I got to play enough. Ghostface, it's fun when they hook you and they try and use their power right away, but then I'm on the hook like, nope, I revealed you, bitch.
I hate that. I fucking hate that.
I love it. And apparently they're one of the perks is kind of glitched right now. The one where it shrinks your terror radius after
Yeah.
you hook the obsession. Yeah, it's glitched and it's kind of not working as intended, but it's still hilarious to see. But let's see. I finally after I bought it, I don't even know how many weeks ago. I finally watched Overlord. Is it Overlord? The J.J. Abrams. Yep. Yeah, I watched that. And was that Euron Greyjoy in there from Game of Thrones as the villain, as the super Nazi, as you will? I think it was. I didn't look it up. I should have probably looked it up.
No, I don't believe that was him.
Well, I'm talking to, but and then let's see. I went to Boxcar Arcade last night, or Barcade, sorry. And that was always fun. I got to play some Mortal Kombat 2. Got to play some Killer Instinct, some Skee Ball. Who doesn't like some Skee Ball? And yes, I still suck at sorry, not Skee Ball. I still suck at pinball. God, I still suck at it.
Yeah, I'm not great at it either. There's a bar here called the Fallout Shelter that has a bunch of pinball. They're doing pinball lessons once a week, and I was like, free pinball lessons? I might go and try and learn how to play some good pinball.
Yes, that was Euron Greyjoy in Overlord as the super Nazi. Also, I'm not even going to try to pronounce his name because that's one of those. In his name is one of those. I don't even know how you pronounce that lettering. It's the A and the E where they're meet, like they're connected. I don't know how you pronounce that.
I have no idea.
You know what I'm talking about, though, right?
I believe I do. Yes.
Thank God, because I didn't want to feel that dumb. Oh, he's also in Ghost in the Shell. Did not know that. Lucy? Jesus Christ! Never saw Lucy, so that's kind of understandable. Yeah, never saw Lucy, but I did see Ghost in the Shell. Isn't that a little weird?
No. I think you're okay there.
You guys seen Lucy, right?
Yes.
We can spoil it, right?
Go for it.
Now, I've only heard this. I don't know how true it is, but does she turn into a USB drive at the end?
Basically.
That doesn't make any fucking sense to me. So, yeah, I don't ever need to see that movie. She turns into a USB drive. Woohoo! I'm good on that.
You're good on that. So, Willie, one quick question. Are you playing anything until now, or are you just waiting until Marvel Ultimate Alliance 3?
Yes, because I fucking thought it came out June 17th. Why June 17th? I can't fucking tell you. But I thought it did. And then the podcast, was it last week or week 4? I was like, yeah, I'm getting ready for it. And you just had to burst my fucking bubble, Chris.
So Willie,
July 19th.
Are you going to play Marvel Ultimate Alliance with me? Doesn't have online co-op? I'm not sure.
if it doesn't, Nintendo's really fucking up, even though they're probably not the main cause of it. But still, fuck you, Nintendo, if it doesn't.
So, Willie, you gonna play Marvel Ultimate Alliance with me?
I mean, if Nintendo allows it.
If Nintendo allows it, well said.
Are
sir.
you gonna play with me?
I will
is
play
the
with you.
question.
The question is, will it require you
heard
to
it.
have Switch Online?
I already got it.
Okay, good. I do too. And since I had Amazon Prime, I got the free year
I
of
knew
Nintendo
that's where you're
Online.
going. I
Yeah,
knew you were
man.
fucking going with that.
And you know what?
I had already gotten it.
I've
and I also
surprisingly-
my Prime.
I've surprisingly enjoyed some of the NES games they've been putting on there. I'm hoping they start branching out to SNES and stuff like that soon.
I
As
will
long as-
say this good news about Nintendo's online thing. At least they know they're shitty, so they only price it out for $20 a year, as opposed to what Xbox and Sony was $60 for the year.
Yeah, but in the
Our
trade-off,
service sucks. It's cheaper.
but also bear in mind that with Sony and Microsoft's approach, you get 3 free games a month also.
Well, I mean, you also get the classic games they put on there too.
Yeah, you really some of those classic games are not comparable to the stuff that they're giving away for free. Like they gave away Borderlands for free, both Xbox and
On
Sony.
Switch?
Not on Switch.
I know,
obviously,
I'm
but-
fucking with you.
Yeah,
of
I mean,
course.
so. And the other nice thing is at least Nintendo's finally implemented some kind of cloud backup system for most of the games. But unless you play Pokemon, then you're just fucked if you lose your console.
Yep. No,
Which
no,
is-
no, no. On that cloud does not work with every game.
Correct. And one
Which
of
is
those
bullshit.
One of those is Pokemon because they think you'll find a way to cheat.
Oh, talk about Pokemon. Was it Let's
Go. The Let's Go games
Oh.
don't. Nobody knows if
cares about
Sword
that?
and Shield work back with the cloud save or not. I really hope they do, especially since they're encouraging you to go out and play with folks and do raids and stuff together. Because if I lose my console, I don't want to lose my progress in Sword or Shield.
Now, answer this question if you can. Did
I
they
will
announce
try.
anything about like the Pokemon Bank will work with it?
Oh, there was something on Pokemon Bank. I
Will
don't remember.
I be
what it
allowed
was.
to move my Alolan Pokemon from the 3DS to the Switch one?
I don't know what you'll be able to move because not every Pokemon is in this game, which is what people are pissed about.
This is this is news. I think I asked this last week, and you didn't know at the time. Does this news just came out? What is this? This would have been my news of the week. What the fuck?
This came out shortly after E3, so and it came out in an interview, I believe it was. I started reading stuff on it early last week, so it was probably after we did the show, where they were saying that not every Pokemon is in Sword and Shield.
All right, I'm calling it now. We need to pull this fucking franchise from Game Freak. Pull it from Game Freak. They don't need it anymore. I feel like they want to go do other shit. Let them go do other shit. Nintendo, dude, come on. What the fuck here? Your first console. I mean, because it's also a handheld. That's why I do the quotes. Pokemon and the full fucking Pokedex. That's what people want. Give people what they fucking want. I want to be able to talk to my buddy in it too. Will I have to use my phone? I hope the fuck not. It's fucking bullshit. And you know what, Nintendo? Reggie Fils-Aime, he got out because he saw the stars aligning.
yeah.
He said, I'm down to this fucking bullshit.
So the real question, I know you can do
His
group
body was ready.
raids and stuff in Pokemon Sword and Shield, and they did say you'd be able to do them over the internet. I don't know whether there is any voice chat component with it or not, because I would imagine you'd want to be able to coordinate strategy with whoever you're playing to be like, don't you dare use the giant Pokemon move. We only get one out of our group, so I don't know.
Wait, what? That's a novel concept. People, strategizing with other people?
Yeah, but here's the thing.
Huh?
Nintendo doesn't want you to be playing Pokemon and hear your 14-year-old kids talking about having sex with your mom. They don't want everyone to have that experience.
Well, they can't fucking stop that because that's going to happen no matter
It'll
what
just be
happens.
on Skype instead of on their service
And
or
it'll-
Discord or whatever people use.
And plus, then you just make fun of them with Pokemon jokes. That's even more hilarious. Like, oh, I'm sorry.
Also true. It'll be interesting to see where they go with it. All I know is that comes out in November. So we've got quite a few months. There's like 5 months until this game comes out.
Did you hear about the Slowbro that had fucked your mom for 3 weeks, and then he finally finished?
Thank you, Willie. Thank you. That
see,
being
that's
said,
It ups it. So you got to be clever when you do the mom jokes.
that was
Otherwise,
clever,
what the
huh?
fuck is the point?
That was clever. So, guys, that does wrap things up for this installment of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. So we are going to start shutting it down here in a second. Friendly reminder, we do stream this thing live every Sunday at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over on Geeks.live. That is the streaming home of the Gonna Geek Network. We syndicate across a bunch of places, but the easiest way to find us, go to Geeks.live. You can find our podcast and our entire back catalog over at ATGNpodcast.com or the video version over at GonnaGeek.com. YouTube.com/GonnaGeek. Before we shut this thing down, you guys have any final thoughts for the people?
I was mistaken. Slowpoke is still fucking your mom, and I don't see him finishing anytime soon.
Fair. Way to double down on the joke. I approve. I guess that's it then. We cannot follow up that greatness with anything. So thank you everyone for joining us this week. We will be back next week, and until then, keep doing what you do. Bye, guys.
Get out of here.
Thanks for listening to this brand new episode of the All Things Good and Nerdy podcast. Don't forget, we'll be back next Sunday live at 11 a.m. Eastern, 10 a.m. Central over at live.atgnpodcast.com, channel 3 of the Alpha Geek Radio app, and over at our network home at GonnaGeek.com/live. If you have any feedback for the show, please contact us atgnpodcast@GonnaGeek.com, on our hotline number at 304-806-ATGN, or even better, go to Twitter and send us a message at ATGN Podcast. The music you've heard in this show is produced by Kevin MacLeod and can be found at Incompetech.com.